Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 6th May 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Haribol TRSV Nectar NECTAR Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video is no exception to that rule. Actually, it is a mere continuation of what we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to my vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of my other videos. Let us continue with today's topic. Today we are going to discuss in detail about a very important topic from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in Hindu mythology or religion. According to one particular verse or a couple of verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is asked by the Prince Arjuna, what is the root cause for all sufferings of a particular living entity? Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, tells him, it is lust. It is the root cause for all problems of a living entity. In fact, this lust begins with the soul category or the condition of a soul itself. A spirit spark which has ejected itself from the spirit whole and which is circulating in the ether endlessly and aimlessly, suddenly gets attracted to the material universe. This spirit spark knows that qualitatively it is a superior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas this material universe is the inferior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hence, here this spirit soul becomes overconfident, forgetting that, conveniently forgetting that it may be qualitatively superior to the material universe, but quantitatively it is nowhere near the material universe. This particular spirit spark, which becomes a soul on coming near the material universe, suddenly gets attracted towards this material universe. It tries to lord it over the material universe. overconfident and puffed up with its own position as a superior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this soul comes a little further towards the material universe. Immediately, when it comes within the range of the material universe, this material universe catches hold of the soul and begins enveloping or cocooning this particular soul with four layers of material body. Once this soul is so entrapped in these four layers of material body, it stops being either a soul or a spirit spark. Now it becomes a living entity. In Sanskrit, the soul is called Atma and the living entity is called Jeev Atma. In other words, lust began right at the spirit spark level and it got crystallized when the same spirit spark, after becoming a soul, became a living entity. Thus, according to Lord Krishna, lust is the main cause for all problems of a living entity. What is lust? Lust begins with attraction towards a particular object. The living entity gets attracted towards some material object. It may be some another living entity or it may be some property, something valuable or some object. When this happens, this attraction slowly turns into a desire to possess that particular object. This desire solidifies and becomes a desperate need. When this desperate need is hindered by various other factors of the material universe, this desire slowly turns into anger. When it turns into anger, the same desire becomes greed. Kama, lust, krodha, anger, lobha, greed. This greed, when it becomes putrefied, becomes moha or illusion. This illusion later turns into ahankara or false ego. We all know that along with the four layers of the body, there is another catalyst which influences a living entity. This catalyst is known as ego or ahankara. When a living entity identifies itself with the body, it becomes false ego. When the same living entity realizes its true self as a soul, that ego, where it identifies itself with the soul, becomes the real ego. However, when the same living entity realizes that it is only a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Super Soul, then the same ego becomes super ego. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha ahankara, lust, anger, greed, illusion, and ego. These five are various types of factors which influence the negative psyche of a living entity. They give birth to all the evil in the society, in the sense that these five exist in every living entity, and there are millions and millions of living entities. The collective Kamha, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, and Ahankara of all living entities suffer from a lot of perpetual friction that results in all the chaos, mayhem, and other disturbances in the society. In fact, we have no right to blame the innocent material universe for our plight. The problems that have been created here are our own doing. We are the root cause for all problems in the society. Today, we talked about the first evil, that is kama, lust. Tomorrow we shall talk about the second of these evils, that is anger. However, when we are at it, let us talk in detail some more about the first evil, that is lust. That is lust. Those living entities who manage after a Herculean effort to eject themselves out of this unnecessary lust, which is a very, very powerful force and which it is very difficult for the greatest of spiritualists to eject themselves from, is the stage when that living entity becomes a sannyasi. In fact, even renunciants, sannyasis, rishis, munis, saints, etc., have the risk of falling into this particular lust. Lord sage Vishwamitra, such a renowned and famous sage, one who was so qualified, erudite, and intelligent, fell for lust when he got attracted to the charms of one nymphet called Menaka, sent by the demigod, the king, the chief of demigods, Lord Indra. When such a thing can happen to a sage like sage Vishwamitra, what about mortals and ordinary human beings like us? The only way to escape from such torture, torment, and risk is to think always about God, to think that we are mere tools in the hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to think that our main purpose is to make the Supreme Personality of Godhead happy. If we come to get addicted to this desire slowly but steadily, then one day or the other, despite being mortals and common human beings, we are likely to escape the tentacles of karma, that is lust. This is the actual path of self realization, liberation from repeated birth and death in this material universe, and ultimate deliverance into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We must all pray for this particular divine boon. It is the main purpose of our lives. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter. Please give me your own expert views, opinions, thoughts, and ideas so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.